June is the youth month in our country. And it is therefore pleasing that you are interacting with the youth this morning. In our history, youth has played a very important role in helping to contribute in shaping the future of South Africa. And we are very confident that the youth is going to continue to do so. And therefore the discussions this morning will be a contribution to that direction of the youth. Yes, Africa at one point was subjugated, colonized. It fought to liberate itself politically. But we all agree that, as one of our great leaders in the continent, Kwame Nkrumah, said, that political freedom is not enough without economic freedom. So the issues that we deal with these days is how to shape ourselves economically, and therefore to participate in the World Economic Forum gives us that platform, which we believe is very important, particularly when Africa has harmonized its thinking about where it must go. We have a vision as a continent, and I think a number of countries have their own vision. So we hope that these 3 days are going to give us an opportunity, a platform to exchange views, to indicate the opportunities in the continent, because we believe our continent is part of the globe. We believe that the relations between Africa and the world has to change. We have to deal with one another as equals. And we believe that our interaction will help us to arrive there. So we are welcome to this kind of wonderful interaction. Here, we don't have the ice. We have the sun. If not the sun, the rain. Yesterday, we were just reminding you that we can also produce something rather than the sun. So welcome, enjoy Cape Town. Thank you very much.
May I ask, I don't know who wants to be first, to get up and to introduce yourself and to raise your question or to make your comment.
How do our governments best decrease the skills gap and at the same time help us to increase the access as well as the pipeline of young people who can now enter meaningful work as well as the mainstream economy of the world? Thank you.
The numbers of people who are being educated are the highest in Africa. 90% of people are going through school, but 50% of them after high school don't have employable skills. So that is what we need to do. We have to provide them with entrepreneurial training. We have to provide them with access to credit. We have to make them part of the formal system. And that is what I see as the progress that we can make. Thank you.
The issue of the youth, I think, is a challenge. And if we talk about, for an example, the unemployment of the youth is a general, global problem. But of course, regions are not the same. Africa may not be necessarily the same like in Europe, which was developed a long time ago. We still have to focus on the youth, to look at what do we do 40 or 2040, 2050. I think that's the reason why, at the AU level, we have come up with a vision, 2063. We have come up with the programs that are beginning to open up more possibilities for the young people. We are creating the infrastructure. We are connecting Africa more than ever before so that the youth participates in that process in shaping the future. We believe that if the young people at 2040 or 2050 will be the majority, they ought to be in a better position to lead, and we should prepare them now. It means they should be employed. We should create opportunities. But of course, Africa does have a disadvantage that part of its history unlike in other regions, perhaps not all, we were in a different kind of a situation. We're colonized. We could not decide on our own what we need to do. I think that gap tells today when we deal with how do we move forward. It needs all of us to come together, to work to ensure that we have very clear programs that give the youth a role to play, but they must also be empowered. We must inculcate in our youth not only those who want to be qualified to get better employment, but we must create entrepreneurs out of them so that they themselves are able to create jobs.
General. Let's go to the second question, please.
I wanted to ask what policies you have in place to encourage entrepreneurship and also innovation. But what policies do you have in place to protect those innovations and also allow youth to export those innovations to the rest of the world? Thank you.
I think we have the laws in our country that are dealing with the question of how to protect property. And these laws cover all citizens. What I think we need to be looking at is the innovation that is coming in. Are we dealing with the new kind of initiatives that are being taken? And this is what we are trying to do. That's why we've got very specific youth programs. But again, we would want the youth itself to participate. Because as you correctly say, you are involved in particular activities that must come to the fore. Because for us to be encouraged or to know that there are specific things that need to be protected, that need to be given space, it is because we are part of it. We know what is happening. Because if we don't know, it's going to be difficult to say what are the laws that we create for this one. So that's why I was emphasizing earlier that the joint participation between the youth and the society at large becomes important to inform whatever we do. We shouldn't be thinking like yesterday, when today you are doing something that are very forward-looking, and we shouldn't be looking backwards. So that's why it is important that we work together to ensure that what are the things that need to be done in order to ensure that your space is protected, what you do is given a platform so that we are able to move forward.
We have a number of initiatives in Ghana to address the issue that you raised. We have a youth enterprise support program that seeks to create entrepreneurs out of youth. We have new universities that are very innovative. We have people who have written computer programs that maybe need to be protected, and they have to learn how this is. But the government is providing resources for doing some of these things, for the enterprise development and for training the youth in skills that are not there, especially in the technical vocational areas and so on.
Thank you. Let's move to the next question or comment, please.
What are your plans to enhance governance, accountability, and transparency within government? And in particular, what are the plans to improve the fight against systemic corruption at all levels? Thank you very much.
Because if you open procurement systems to public interest accountability committees, for example, who are appointed by NGOs without government interference, who are funded by government, be able to do their work, it is a key in the battle against corruption and maladministration.
Yes, I think we all believe in the good governance. That's an issue we talk about, particularly in the continent of Africa, but also to individual governments. We have a very strong anti-corruption culture that we have developed, which was never there before. People in South Africa talk more about this, and the government has established a lot of institutions that are fighting corruption, including the public has a right to go to the public protector They've got the right to raise issues very openly. Many things we do, we try to bring the element of transparency so that people are aware of what is happening. And it's a culture that was not there before. People have been arrested, some are serving in prison, some have lost jobs, because there is an anti-corruption kind of culture that is there. And government, of course, is expected to play a particular role. We have actually looked at how do we centralize tender system, for an example, so that you are in a platform where you could look at it rather than allowing it to be everywhere. That's part of what we're trying to do to fight corruption. We believe in it, and there are actions that have been taken against those who are corrupt. We've got parliament that discusses these matters. We've got special structures that investigate very deeply the corruption that happens, particularly in government. I think we are more active in government, although even in the private sector there are some activities, but they are more with the public employees or public activities. There is more focus and more feeling that the taxpayers' money cannot be taken by other people. But it is a problem that it is always addressed. There is no issue that is left, and it does not matter whether you are small or you're big. If there is a problem, we have structures to look at it, structures to investigate. They investigate, even the president here is investigated thoroughly if there's anything wrong. That's how open the system is.
Thank you. Let's imagine we are celebrating now 25 years. And let's imagine we three would sit here in another 25 years, which means in 2014. And you had 3 wishes, each of you, to be accomplished by 2014. What would be for Africa? What would be the 3 wishes? And only, I would say, 10 seconds per wish. So, Vice President.
Sorry, I didn't get the full question. How do we see Africa in the next 25 years?
But very short answers. 3 wishes. 3 wishes.
Well, it's already started. The economies are growing very fast. There's a lot of dynamism in the society, thriving economic activity that's taking place. So the transformation is taking place within our very eyes. We don't see it because we are so close to it. And that transformation will continue, and Africa will become the emerging economic power.
Thank you. President.
Well, thank you very much. We would like, by 2040, to see Africa industrialized. We want to see Africa fully beneficiating its own resources and therefore having created more jobs. We'd like to see Africa interconnected through the infrastructure, the road, rail, the air. We'd like Africa to look like indeed one unit with economic activities that will be one of the regions that should be leading the world, with the youth being part of the leadership, making Africa to move to a more prosperous continent of Africa. That's what we'll be wanting to see.
Let's